Hello guys, and welcome to your weekly dose of me. As you may or may not know, the Philadelphia Eagles, my team, just won the Super Bowl yesterday, so I'm very happy about that. It's the first time that they win a Super Bowl in all the Eagles' history. It's not the first time that they're the NFL champions, but the last time they were champions, it was in the 60s before the Super Bowl even existed. Now, I was watching the Super Bowl with some friends, and inevitably we ended up talking about things like violence, which is very related to Super Bowl, and violence is something very normal in these kind of sports. But that doesn't mean it's good, and that's basically what I want to talk to you about this today. Uh, the difference between what is normal and what is good. So, without further ado, welcome to Victoryville. Now, before going into details of what I'm going to talk about, I want to get to the challenges. So, Raul, you asked me to read The Little Prince, and I'm on it. I haven't finished it yet. I've actually just started, but because I have a lot of reading to do, but I will read it. I'm reading it on my phone to save paper, and I'm reading in Spanish because I think it's closer to French. I think it's originally written in French, so not a lot will be lost in translation. So there's this important concept that I think people misinterpret a lot. What is normal and what is good? There, there are two very different things, but people don't usually see the difference. When they see something is not normal, they usually mean it's not good. First, we have to start by defining what is normal and what is good. Saying that something normal is more or less an objective thing. It's something that is typical, something that repeats itself, something that is common to see. That's all what normal is. And good is something more subjective, and there are many ways to categorize something as good or bad. Uh, and I will get to that in some other later video, hopefully. That's a really interesting topic that I want to cover. But for now, let's focus on thinking about what is normal. Because, for example, in football, we know that violence is not good. However, in in American football and rugby and many other sports, violence is something completely normal. You see it all the time. And you can't argue with that because it's a fact. There's violence in those games. And that happens all the time. That's the definition of something being normal. Now, these NFL players get concussions and suffer later in their lives. They have psychological disorders other than dementia and many things, and that's definitely not good. However, it's normal. Another example I was originally thinking about when I thought about this topic was when I was back in Mexico for the winter break. There was this campaign about these kinds of domestic violence, saying that it's not normal to be treated like that. And sadly, in many places, it is normal to be treated like that. We must acknowledge that it isn't good, even though it's normal. I think one of the reasons why this confusion arose is because most of the things we do are normal and good, because if we didn't do them, we would be in serious trouble. For example, breathing, blinking, those are very normal things to do, and they're entirely good. They're harmless. Simply walking with shoes on a street, it's good because it protects your feet, and it's normal to do that. So most of the things you can think about, are normal and good. And most of them are so normal that we don't even think about them as things that we do, like the examples of breathing or blinking. There are things that are normal but are not good, and there are things that are not normal but are good. The most important thing that you should take from this is that there are some good things that aren't normal, and many things became normal because they were good. A very early example of this is just wearing hats. Hats haven't been around since the beginning of time, obviously, and it wasn't normal when people started wearing them. They were like freaks just for wearing them, but they helped them survive the cold and just feel a little warmer and nicer. So, in that sense, something that was not normal but was good turned into something normal because it was good. And that's the kind of thing that we have to promote. Good things that are not normal, we have to make them normal. Being kind to other people, respecting each other's points of view, even if they differ from yours fundamentally, are some things that aren't that normal in today's society. They're becoming more normal, and that's what we have to acknowledge. They're not yet completely normal, but they're good. and so we must keep them. I want you to talk about a conflict that you have heard between two nations any time in history and explain it in the worst way that you can imagine. I'll see you next week.